All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome into week number 3 in the NFL. Today we have our Sunday slate video in which we dive into each and every one of these Sunday slate games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within each game as we break it down as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, all of that will be absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we've started out week number 3, let's take the cha-ching from the soundboard. We go 5-1 in Thursday Night Football, that Bills and Dolphins game. 5-1, yeah, they were all 0.2 unit plays. I mean, Cook to score a touchdown was a quarter unit play, but nonetheless, we saw that game well. We had the game script pretty well projected, so let's see if we can take a little bit of that momentum and apply it to these Sunday games. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You guys have been absolutely rocking to start this NFL season. Thank you guys so much for the support and everything like that. I tell you guys all the time, I said it last time too. I know I have the microphone, the setup, the camera, all that, but it takes 2 to tango, and you guys are on the other end here. You're actual humans, and you are a main cog or a main gear in the machine that we have going here. So really do appreciate everyone spending some time with me today. But let's go ahead and dive into this slate, shall we? Game number 1, we got the Panthers taking on the Falcons. Right now, Panthers 5.5-point dogs. Total sitting at 43.5. Carolina 0-2 on the season. Atlanta 1-1. The biggest thing I want to talk about here is the fact that Bryce Young, at least through 2 games, it's pretty clear where he'll have his success and where he won't. The biggest things I've noticed is that when he gets pressured, he really does struggle, makes bad plays, really bad plays. But when he doesn't, it looks like he can move the ball and actually kind of get things going. And we saw that last week, right? They didn't start all that great against the Cardinals, but that ended up being a 27-22 game. Guess what? The Cardinals didn't pressure him, didn't really blitz him or anything like that. Atlanta comes into this game the 3rd highest frequency in terms of pressure rate and blitzing the 13th highest. So through 2 weeks, this is a team that is pressuring and is getting to the quarterback. So I like the idea of the Falcons in this spot, -5.5 points. I like their offense, don't like the Panthers defense. So a lot of reasons why I could be looking at -5.5 here. Where I could pivot to, and this is kind of a play on the total, and we can go one of 2 ways here. Falcons team total over because I don't like that Panthers defense, so sure. But secondarily, I talked about the pressure, and this Falcons defense I think is better than people thought, right? 23 points allowed to the Bucks. Obviously, that's pretty damn good knowing how good this Bucks offense is. 6 points allowed to the Vikings. Say what you want about the Vikings. 6 points is 6 points. Maybe this defense is better than we think. What about a Carolina team total under? Right now, you can get that under 20.5. If they don't go out there and score 3 touchdowns, that looks like a winner to me, right? So maybe taking a peek at that. I almost like that and the sound of that more than the 5.5, because obviously 5.5 is a big number. All right, next game up includes what a lot of people are considering the best team in football right now, Packers at the Browns. Browns getting 8.5 points in this spot, total at 45.5. If we start with the Browns here, and I can say the one thing that I do kind of trust is their defense. Now, I say that, and it's like the Ravens just stomped them. But this Ravens offense is also very, very dynamic, and I get it if you don't want to buy into their defense. Where I will say is that this Packers team, even though, they've looked very good offensively and all that, like, they're going to want to run the ball first. This Browns team just kind of slowed up Derrick Henry, and when I say slowed up, he had 11 carries for 23 yards. Maybe this Browns team's better on the ground than we think. I don't mind the secondary. What I'm getting at here is I don't think a ton of points are going to be scored. Even though this Packers team's obviously very, very good and very, very talented, I think the best thing about them may be their defense, first and foremost. And secondarily, this is their first game outside of Lambeau this season. Maybe they're a little slow out the gate. So I do still think that the Packers are the better team. I'm not going to tell you to go and jump on the Browns plus 8.5 or anything like that. Where I think the Browns can impact this game is potentially slowing it down and keeping this game low scoring. So honestly, where I would probably focus in this game is maybe some sort of a SGP or a teaser where we can get that Packers line down to like 2.5, right? With a 6-point teaser. And then we have a total of what, 51.5, 52.5, something like that to take the under on. So that's definitely something that I would consider because again, I do think that this Cleveland team at least should be good enough to stop Josh Jacobs in the rush attack, which is still, in my opinion, the Packers, first and foremost, how they want to dominate games. Let's win in the trenches. We'll win on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, they obviously have Jordan Love, but this is still a defensive-minded and I would say run-first football team. So I like the idea of that teaser. An under, as well as the Packers, if we got like 6 points on either side. All right, guys, real quick, before we do continue on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard. They have a free pick as well as a free $20. Imagine 20 bucks on the ground. You're walking by on the street and you say, hey, that's mine now, right? All you have to do is sign up and you get $20 instantly. You don't even need to deposit. Go check out Chalkboard. That link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment. And like I mentioned, you get this free Patrick Mahomes line as well. They're 0-2. Obviously, Mahomes is going to be fired up here for this game. All he has to do is pass for 1 yard and you cash this square. Go check it out. Again, that link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment. They're also doing a deposit bonus when you sign up as well. So yes, that free $20, no deposit necessary, but if you do want to deposit, and I recommend it, you're going to get a deposit bonus as well. So they're giving you free. Go check it out. That link will be down below. Game number 3, we're looking at the Jags taking on the Texans. I think a lot of people are going to be where I'm at with this game this week, and just because it seems to make a whole lot of sense, right? You have this Texans team who has been one of the more underwhelming teams so far to start the season. They're 0-2. Now you're going up against Jacksonville, who we don't really even know if we fully buy into or believe in. Lawrence and his situation, obviously there was some frustration. Was it last week? Yeah. I do like the Texans on the money line. But again, I think everybody's going to get there because, oh, no way, they can go 0-3 and, blah, blah, blah. But you are still getting plus money for them. I don't mind this spot. We can still say that this is an amazing defense. Yes, the Bucs had a couple times in which they took advantage of them and obviously looked really good offensively. But at what point are we able to also say, okay, well, guess what? This is a really good Bucs offense. And they only scored, what was it? Final score 21-19, something like that, right? So it's like, yeah, I get it if someone wants to say, oh, but I don't know, like Baker Mayfield drove down the field. I would say, yeah, Baker Mayfield drove down the field. He's an amazing quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is not Baker Mayfield, and this Jags offense is not the Bucs offense. So to me, even if CJ Stroud and the offense continues to struggle here, I could see the Texans defense winning the game. So I'm going to lean Texans in this spot on the money line. I don't care about the 1.5. I say that now, and all of a sudden it's going to be like, wish we had that one back. But no, I do think that this is a spot in which if the Texans are going to play well, they'll play well enough to win the game. In terms of a total, I think their defense steps up here, and I really don't think their offense is near to firing on all cylinders. So I guess I would lean under in this spot as well. When it comes to player props, I think that this could be a nice little spot for CJ Stroud to get things going. He's going to see a ton of zone, which he plays a lot better against than man. And this is a Jacksonville team that's only played, now it's through 2 weeks, albeit only 13% man coverage. So he's going to get a ton of zone. I don't mind him in a situation like that. So any of his player props, 1.5 touchdown, stuff like that. All right, a weird one here. We have the Vikings taking on the Bengals. And if you aren't aware, the reason this is weird is because we have Carson Wentz quarterbacking the Vikings this week, going up against Jake Browning. Both J.J. McCarthy as well as Joe Burrow are out of this one. So what I'm really curious to see is Jamar Chase versus Justin Jefferson type of thing in this spot. Both of them with their backup quarterback, the 1-2 punch of the 2 best receivers in the league, who truly is the best, all that type of stuff. I will say that, this one isn't as hard for me in terms of making up my mind, which worries me a little bit, but all things considered, yes, we have the quarterback out for the Vikings. Yes, we have the quarterback out for the Bengals, but I still think that this is a Vikings defense that is a lot better than the Bengals defense, and yeah, I can give the credit to the Bengals in week 1. They actually made stops when they needed to, but Joe Flacco still did throw all over them. Minnesota didn't exactly look all that great to start the game against the Bears, and they didn't look all that great for the majority of the game against the Falcons. but I still think that this is a good enough defense in terms of being able to send the pressure, drop back into some sound and succinct zones. So yeah, it's going to be Vikings for me. And also throw in the fact that I would trust Carson Wentz, who at one point in his career was in the MVP talks, right? I would trust him over Jake Browning. Jake Browning came in and played really, really well last week, okay, in terms of what you'd expect. So I'll give him a little bit of credit, but I still would trust this Carson Wentz spot. Now, there is a lot of offensive line issues there on the Viking side of things, but to start the season, pressure rate, bottom third of the league for the Bengals, and blitz rate, they're blitzing the second fewest amount of time. So what a better matchup to have here for the Vikings when we're like, oh my God, we're shaking in our boots. Our offensive line's really, really banged up. Oh, nice. We're going up against a team that doesn't really seem like they're even going to attempt to get to us, or if they do attempt, not going to do a very good job at it, right? So give me the Vikings. Don't mind the idea of an under or a Bengals team total under. I don't think we see Browning play as well as a replacement for Joe Burrow like we did last week. Patriots taking on the Steelers here. We have the Patriots coming into this one 1-1 after I don't want to say miraculous, but as a Patriots fan, I can admit this Dolphins team last week had a lot of chances to win the game. But they still win it 33-27. Much different offensive performance than week 1, in which they scored 13 points. You could say the same thing about the Steelers. Steelers dropped 34 in week number 1, and then Seattle's defense got to them. They only scored 17 in a 31-17 loss in week number 2. This is, honestly, I would say a decent spot for the Patriots defense to maybe get the ship back on track. Aaron Rodgers, not all that great against man. Patriots are playing man like you read about to start the season. Do I think they'll continue to do that? We shall see as we learn these defensive schemes and whatnot a little bit more. But as of right now, that could give Rodgers some trouble. The problem is they're not pressuring the quarterback really whatsoever. Tua kind of lit them up. Even Geno Smith lit them up. And if you're telling me Tua did that, Geno Smith did that, even though it's man coverage versus zone and all that, what I just talked about, it's Aaron Rodgers, who I think still has a little gas left in the tank. It pains me to do this as a Patriots fan, but I think the Steelers is the play here. The thing that we really do kind of end up having to focus on or think about is what's happening with the Steelers defense. Obviously a really, really good defense, but averaging 31.5 points against to start the season. Quick math by me, 32 points in week 1, 31 points in week number 2. This Patriots offense did just put up 33 against the Dolphins, right? That said, much like I said, this could be a get-right spot for the Patriots defense. I could see the Steelers being in the exact same boat. So I like the idea of the Steelers, but maybe in a low-ish scoring game here. I'm going to go Steelers as well as the under. I have a feeling that Drake May is not going to look as good as he did last week, which pains me, again, as a big Drake May fan, as a big Patriots fan. I just can't see the Patriots defense. Like I say that they'll get a little bit better this week, and I don't want to make this a Patriots podcast, but I think they'll get a little bit better this week, but it's still, they've let two quarterbacks that you could argue is less than Aaron Rodgers light them up. Give me the under, but I think it's mainly because the Steelers play some good defense. Next up, what a lot of people are considering the game of the week, right? Eagles taking on the Rams. I'm sure you've heard it. People saying, oh, the Rams had a chance last year to kind of knock the Eagles off and all that. They didn't. Eagles end up winning the Super Bowl, right? In this one, we have the Eagles 3.5-point favorites at home. Total's going to have 44.5. They're 2-0 on the season. Two more narrow wins than you might think, right? They beat Dallas by just 4 points. They beat Kansas City by 3 points in a game in which I thought they played really well, but ultimately that became somewhat of a mistakes made in that game on both sides as well as a defensive game. Rams come into this one, 14-9 win against the Texans, 33-19 win against the Titans. Are they legit here, right? Are they a contender? The thing that kind of keeps me on the Eagles side of things, so yes, I'd still lean towards the Eagles. I would pay the juice and get this to 2.5, though I think that number could be crucial, like it was last week against the Chiefs. The thing that gets me there is the fact that here we go. Two things. I don't love the secondary for the Eagles. I do think the secondary and the way they play it will match up well against the Rams, though. So yes, you might be sitting there being like, oh, Matt Stafford, if he's able to get going against the secondary that we saw Dak Prescott look good against and all that, then yeah, maybe the Rams have a chance. But we're going to see a lot of man coverage. That's huge here because Matt Stafford struggles against man mightily. And throw in the fact that Matt Stafford has just been eyeing down Devontae Adams, eyeing down Puka Nacua. They have, I think between the two of them, 67% of the target share of this team. That's not all that dynamic of a, receiver core for the defense to try and worry about or have to think about, oh, what are they going to do, right? It's like, cover those two guys, man-to-man coverage, and we could be okay. So I think that because of that, and the run game really has not fully gotten going, I wouldn't say, for Kyren Williams as well. So it's like, yeah, there's just not enough true dynamic ability right now. And I think this Rams team will be better. And I think the defense is better than people are giving credit. But as of right now, I think that their offensive lack thereof of dynamic ability is what kind of does them in this one. So give me the Eagles. I would say -2.5 though. Total at 44.5. That's a very interesting number. Obviously, you have Jalen Hurts and a really explosive offense, Saquon, Matt Stafford as well. But I just mentioned, I think the Eagles are going to be able to put their thumb on this Rams offense to some degree, and then throw in the fact that, I just kind of gave Rams credit that they have a better defense than people would think. I kind of like the under 44.5. Is that crazy? With Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Matt Stafford, Kyren Williams, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, all these superstar names. Is it crazy to lean under in this spot? I'm going to do it. Bucks taking on the Jets here. Bucks 7-point favorites at home. I do think that makes sense. This team's looked pretty good to start the year. Now, the fact that they've had two kind of heart-throbbing wins, right? That last second touchdown pass to Ibuka, week number 1 against the Falcons. And we had White rush in the touchdown as, pretty much time expired, I guess, in a sense, against the Texans on Monday night. I would say that this Tampa Bay team offense, they're proving themselves, right? The Jets, on the other hand, I'm not exactly sure where to peg them. I mean, through 2 weeks, the Steelers put up 34, the Bills put up 30. This is a really good Bucs offense. Shouldn't they go out there and score a bunch as well? Now, the Bucs defense has been very good, but they've still allowed nearly 20 points in each of their first 2 games, Atlanta and the Houston Texans. I think this could be a spot to look at the over. There's a lot of playmakers on both sides of the defensive ball, though, so I guess it makes it a little bit tough to pull the trigger, but I'm going to lean over in this one. And if it's over, I almost tried to get to the Jets here, but if I'm leaning towards the over, I think I want to lean towards the team that has the better offense, and I would say that that's definitely this Bucs squad. So give me the Bucs minus the points as well as the over. And in terms of a player prop that I like, I'm looking at Mike Evans to record a touchdown. Plus 155 over on DK right now. This is another play that I took in H2H, the show that me and Tassos do together weekly, which, by the way, if you've not checked that out, you want to laugh, you want some good picks and just some entertainment, check that out. It's on the channel. I like him in this spot. Also, Emeka Egbuka he did miss practice Wednesday. I believe he had a limited practice Thursday. So, sure, he's probably going to play, but he had a hip and a groin injury. Mike Evans, sitting there healthy, has not scored this season, and he has really, in his career, but even last year, you have to look back to this week last year, the last time he had 2 games in a row with no touchdowns scored. He's through 2 weeks right now with no touchdowns scored. Mike Evans is due. Now, yeah, he might get the sauce treatment and all that, sure, but you know what? Let's see if they force it to him. I like Mike Evans to score a touchdown this week, as well as some points in this game. Sounds kind of crazy, but it's where my head's at. Real quick, guys, before we do move on, I want to let you know that we have a ton of new stuff in the Fade Me store, the Guy Boston Sports merch store. You can see here the Gambler Collection just launched the Football 2025, a premium crew deck. This thing is absolutely awesome. We have a rope hat. We also have a foam trucker hat, and then we have an embroidered premium hoodie. This is some of the best product that we've put out to date since Fade Me launched a couple years ago. So go ahead and check it out, guys. FadeMe.store. That link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment as well. This is just some of the new arrivals. We have a ton of stuff out right now, just like my just betted hoodie. This is still, I think we still have a few units in stock there. So go ahead and check it out, guys. FadeMe.store, or just head to that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. You can do GuyBostonSports.com/store as well. That'll get you to the same place. Man, there are some tough spots this week. This Titans and Colts one, you can make that exact same argument. Obviously, you have Daniel Jones, who now we're calling Indiana Jones, apparently, which is admittedly a good nickname, has looked really good, right? Like, this is a guy that clearly is playing better than we've seen. I mean, maybe not. He's had some good runs in his career, but playing better than we've seen recently. 33 points in week 1, 29 points in week 2. You can definitely make the argument that, okay, they probably should have lost that game 28-26 if the penalty on the field goal doesn't happen. But I would still be sitting here saying the same thing. They put up 26 points or whatever it was against what I thought was a good Denver defense. Now, these two teams already have a mutual opponent here. Week number 1, the Titans lose 20-19 against this, 20-12 against the Denver squad, and Indianapolis win 29-28. So already there's so many things pointing at, okay, Colts playing really well, Daniel Jones playing really well. This team seems to be like America's favorite right now, and they already beat a team that this Titans team lost to, and yet this line just has bounced between 3.5, 4.5. It's weird, man. I sounding the psycho alert alarm here. I think this is a trap. I think a lot of other people are saying that and reiterating that and regurgitating that. But if I were to be on the Colts and then the Titans even win this game outright, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever, just based on how this line has hung around that number. So yeah, I mean, right now you're probably wanting to wait it out if you do like the Titans like I do. That is, by the way, the side that I'm looking at. Don't know if I get there myself. I don't know if I want to drop the cojones on the table and bet on the Titans. But you know, if you wait this one out, you probably end up getting like a 5.5 or a better number, just because I think there's going to be a lot of people that come and be like, they thought about this Colts spot all week, and they're like, oh, it's a trap. And then come, you know, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be like, boom, let me hammer it because they're such a better team, right? But this is a home dog in a divisional game. Like, something's screaming Titans to me here. Maybe an under 2, because if this is a shootout, I like that Colts offense a lot more than I do the Titans. So I'll lean Titans as well as the under. We spent a long time in that game, essentially to say I don't want to fall for the trap. All right, Washington taking on the Raiders. Big thing here is Jaden Daniels. He's listed as questionable. We don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't play, then it doesn't necessarily put me to the Raiders side of things. If he does play, I really do like the Commanders. But honestly, the fact that this is only like a 3.5 point spread makes me think that we may not see Daniels in this spot, right? So obviously that's something that we're going to want to wait out. On the other side of things, you have Brock Bowers. So there are a ton of injuries that are just obviously worth kind of making sure that we have everything we need before diving into it, right? So for now, I would lean Washington if Daniels plays. I also don't mind them to score some points. I think that this is, I would say, probably a nice little bounce back spot after I think a lot of people think they embarrassed themselves against the Packers, but I'm willing to say that that's just how good the Packers are. Jaden Daniels still ended up having a decent game. We had his over in completions. We had Debo, his over in receptions, and both those came through that Thursday. So yeah, if Daniels plays, and I know this is a big if, I like Washington. If not, it's probably a keep away game for me and stay away from this one. So Washington and their team total over, assuming he plays, but who knows if he's going to. This line would say no. Here's another one that feels a little bit trappy. We have the Chargers and the Broncos. Now, I know people are going to be like, oh, no, they always play each other tough and blah, blah, blah. So I do get that, but this Chargers team has impressed me at the very least to start the season, right? Chiefs, obviously. Then the Raiders, they don't even look back. They beat them on Monday night. I do think that this is a Chargers spot. So yeah, maybe this is one that I fall for the trap, right? Just like the Texans, that could be a trap, them being plus money. We're avoiding it with the Titans potentially, but this Chargers spot inside a field goal with what I think is a far, far better team. Yeah, I think that's going to be something that I take a peek at. You have Dre Greenlaw on the Denver defense listed as questionable. Obviously, that'd be pretty big if he doesn't play there, being the a good inside linebacker for them. But yeah, ultimately, I just think that this is a Chargers offense that's playing a lot different than we thought. Everybody coming this season, including myself, would have been like, this team is just going to ground and pound and run and all that, right? It really hasn't even been the case. We still don't even know who the number one back is, whether it's Najee or Omarion Hampton. But what we do know is Justin Fields, they're going to let him sling it. And through a couple games now, he's looked very, very good. Now, Denver's defense, obviously very, very good. I don't think the Raiders are as good. You could argue the Chiefs are as good, but maybe this is a little bit of a tough task for him in general. I get that. But to me, it's still Chargers all the way. I think that this is a spot in which, yeah, maybe we see an under 46.5. I don't know if the Chargers get to like 27 points like they did in week 1. But Denver's offense, 20 points, 28 points. This is also a Chargers defense that looks fairly good, right? So I could see like a 24, 21, 21 17, all that type of stuff game in this spot. When it comes to player props, I don't mind Keenan Allen again. I think that this is going to be a guy that beats the man coverage and makes it a little bit easy for Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert does struggle against man. I should mention that. And we should see a decent amount of man in Denver. And we know Pat Surtain's probably going to be on Ladd McConkey. And if he's on Keenan Allen, then Ladd McConkey's going to be looking good all day, right? So whoever that Surtain projected matchup is against, I would say that we X that one and look at the other guy. Seahawks taking on the Saints. This Saints team obviously is not very good, so needless to say, it makes sense why the Seahawks are 7.5-point favorites. Their offense actually looked really good against Pittsburgh last week, and I think that we can count on this Seahawks defense. I do. What was it? 17 allowed in both of these games to San Francisco and Pittsburgh. This New Orleans team kind of struggling themselves. I mean, yeah, they scored 21 against San Francisco last week, only 13 against an Arizona defense in week number 1. This number makes sense to me. It does. And I think the Seahawks are a little bit better than we may have thought. So I'm going to lean Seahawks minus the points. Getting there myself might be a little difficult, but I think there is some SGP potential opportunity in this one. You can go like Seahawks money line, Saints team total under, that type of a thing. Put them together, maybe with a player prop, something like that. Maybe there's some opportunity and room for growth there. Where I would look in terms of a total, like I said, Saints team total under, sure. But where I'd also look for a player prop would be Kenneth Walker. Now, his line has gone all over the place. We saw it yesterday at 50, I think it was 54.5 or 53.5. It's now at 67.5, and it's kind of going all over the place in terms of other, multiple books having it at different things. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Already was able to sprinkle a little bit in terms of just getting that value at the 55 or 54.5. So we'll see there. But honestly, I kind of wish we went a little bit heavier on it, right? Like, yeah, that'll probably be a final play, the 53.5, but now it's way higher than that, so you can't even get that number, and we're not going to be able to get as much back into that because I think we only put like a quarter unit on it. Nonetheless, Kenneth Walker, I think, could have a good game, especially if they're winning this. I think that they'll pound the rock. Zach Charbonnet obviously gets in your head a little bit, being like, okay, well, he's kind of getting a lot of carries from Walker and everything like that. That being said, I still would obviously think that Kenneth Walker is the better back out of the two, and in a spot in which they should be able to run the ball and get a lot of volume, even if they do split carries, for him to go out there and rush for, 54 yards, doesn't seem like it'd be all that crazy for Walker. But Charbonnet's line could be worth looking at too. All right, where do we go in this one? Bears taking on the Cowboys. His Cowboys offense has obviously looked decent to start the year, I think we could say, against a tough Eagles defense. They did lose, but put up 20 points, and a lot of dropped balls could have gone a lot of ways other than how it did. They dropped 40 in that last game against the Giants. Now, Chicago, 27-24 loss in week 1, 52-21 loss in week 2. I would like to think that Chicago bounces back here. Sounding the psycho alert alarm, for the reason being that I think that this is a decent enough matchup for Caleb Williams. That Cowboys team will sit in zone. He's really good against zone. They will try and bring some pressure, but honestly, in terms of drawing up blitzes and whatnot, they're not doing too much of. So I kind of like Caleb Williams in this spot. Now, Dak Prescott should obviously probably be okay against this Bears defense, but at least through 2 weeks, they've played a lot of man coverage. That is how you kind of beat Dak, and they haven't really gotten too much pressure. They're middle of the pack, but that's also how you get to him. So we'll see if this Cowboys offensive line holds up. I could see points coming in this game, though, as could, the books, though. It's at 50.5. But again, I sounded the psycho alert alarm. I think that Ben Johnson and the Bears have a decent week here because this is, I would say, the easiest defense they've played so far. Minnesota, I like that defense. Detroit, I like that defense. And whereas Dallas, yes, they almost beat the Eagles. This Bears team, I think, is similar to the Giants in terms of offensive skill level, and they almost lost that game because Russell Wilson had a good game and, obviously was able to pass pretty well. And what did he end up finishing at? 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then the 1 interception at the end. So, yeah, like if Russell Wilson can do it, we'd at least think Caleb Williams can do something offensively. So give me the Bears as well as the over here. I know it's a really high number. I would probably say in terms of player props, Caleb Williams completion, something like that. In terms of what we're at right now, let's see if I can find that really quickly, because again, I think that we could see some nice, easy completions for him, especially in like a game script to start the day. 21.5 for plus money. You can get over 19.5 right now for a little bit of juice. Yeah, I think that those are directions I'd think about. All right, San Francisco taking on Arizona. Brock Purdy is still the question mark in this one. If he plays, then that's obviously going to be a pretty big deal to this team. Right now, he's listed as questionable. Obviously, he missed last week, so we'll keep an eye on that before obviously jumping to any, I guess, conclusions or anything like that, right? But nonetheless, on the other side of things, fairly, I guess we could say, healthy, healthy Cardinals team. I almost said the Diamondbacks. They do have some questionabilities, but more so, most of their starters are good to go. San Francisco -3 is where I'd look at in this game. They're at home here. If they get Brock Purdy back, great. And even if not, now I'm not going to jump to this if Brock Purdy's not playing. But I think Mac Jones is serviceable enough. And this Cardinals team obviously is a good squad, but this is the San Francisco season opener at home. There's going to be a little bit of hype behind that. The Cardinals played one game on the road. They beat New Orleans. Then they let Carolina come back. Like, I am not all big on the Cardinals simply for the fact that New Orleans and Carolina are their two tests so far. You know what I mean? Like, this should be a spot in which San Francisco, even with Mac Jones potentially, they're the best team that the Cardinals have faced so far. And now the Cardinals are facing them in their house, you know? So I like the 49ers. I even said already that, maybe, we do wait out Brock Purdy. But to be honest, Mac Jones playing still could be okay. And maybe it is worth a little bit of the risk of trying to get a good line and then Brock Purdy suits up. So we'll see. Maybe we do sprinkle on that early and then kind of adjust with more monies or less if we do like it one way or the other closer to game time when we have more injury updates. In terms of the total, I almost want to say San Francisco team total over. That's definitely going to depend on the quarterback, but I think that they are shifty enough, and we already saw like Carolina score 20-plus points against this Arizona team last week. The Saints put up 13. That's nothing to brag about, but 17 from San Francisco against Seattle. Seattle, I think, is a really good defense, and they put up 26 yesterday, so maybe a team total over consideration as well. All right, Sunday Night Football. Guys, if you're looking for an extensive breakdown on this game, Tassos hooks it up on the channel each and every week. So I'm going to talk pretty briefly about this one, but he's going to break down the entire game as its own video on the channel. So make sure to go ahead and tune into that. But we got the Giants coming off the loss against Kansas. Now they're playing Kansas City, but Kansas City's also coming off a loss. Listen, I'm not trying to overthink this one. Kansas City 0-3 does not sound possible to me, especially with a layup in a sense against the Giants. So I think that they come out here and absolutely stomp them. Kansas City minus the points is where I'd look in this one. Their team total over as well, or Giants team total under. The Giants just played out of their shoes in terms of taking that to OT against Dallas and everything like that. They did. I don't think the Giants are going to give you, what did they score? 37 points? I don't think they do that. I think that they probably score closer to, I don't know, less than that, I should say, right? They'll probably score closer to 17 to 20. So I think a team total under could be in play here as well. That's really all I have. Like I said, I'm not trying to overthink this one. I know Tassos will hook you guys up with some more insights and data into this game, but guys, overall, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, you know exactly what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment 32 if you made it this far into the video. That means you made it all the way through. You listened to this guy talk for that long. Appreciate you for hanging out with me. Make sure to go ahead and check out Chalkboard and check out the merch store. Talked about those in the video as well. Links down in the description as well as the pinned comment. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.